Bearcat Bounce Podcast, back at it again. As always, on a Monday night, we're here bringing you Bearcat discussion. It's a Monday night after a happy but sad but weird Sunday. One team moves on, one team loses but still has chances to move on. One team has Super Bowl aspirations, the other team has aspirations of figuring things out on the fly. Wow, Junior Day, lots of fun, but snow. Plenty of snow. That's right. We're going to talk about it all here yet again. Every Monday night, as always, going to bring in my guys, my pals. All three of them. They're here yet again. Ready to discuss everything Bearcat, everything Cincinnati. Without further ado, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer. Gentlemen, how are we?
Good. A little crazy weekend with that Bengals game. Downtown was buzzing, so I was stuck right in the middle of it, but had some fun down there.
And where were you at?
I was at none other than the Holy Grail.
Hey.
Grade A service. Grade A. It's something about the beer there. It just tastes better. I don't know why.
What do? We call that a crossover, right? A little crossover ad there. Little shout out to the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Aaron, sir, how are we?
I'm on cloud nine.
Everybody
said that it was supposed to be Buffalo. They were so good. They gave them the benefit of the doubt, even though we never actually played that game in Cincinnati. So we went to Buffalo, and they got to play us. Took care of business, and we're on to Kansas City. One last go. Trying to make it 4 in a row in just over a year.
Well, okay. There we go. Chad, how are we?
I'm here.
There we go.
Things are okay. So, stabilized, but not improving at the rate that I would like her to improve. But we're getting there. We're getting there, one step at a time. So I'm good. She's good. I'm good.
There we go.
Thank you, G-Mac.
G-Mac. Welcome back.
Appreciate
G-Mac. Welcome back. But so Bengal Bounce Podcast, should we just roll with that? Just kind of make us all happy on this Monday?
I don't feel like people listening to people yell at me.
Yeah, I don't think we can really do that.
We'll take care of that tomorrow on PTP. Don't worry.
There we go. But here on the Bearcat Bounce Podcast, we got to talk about some fixing. Some things that need adjusted. Some things that might need a fresh oil change. That's also where you can get it done for your car at Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Head on down to Danco Transmission Auto Care. What, Fairfield, Ohio? I never mentioned the location because I don't really quite know the burbs of the nasty.
Fairfield, basically, but right past Jungle Gyms on Route 4 in Fairfield.
Right past Jungle Gyms. If you see the Mexican place, maybe go inside, see if Joe is in there. Say, Danco Joe, I'll follow you back to the shop. Let's get the fixings done. But as always, mention Chad, Aaron, Ryan, myself. Mention Wes Miller. Mention the BBP. Do it. Get yourself a little fixing.
Do it now.
Little help. Little change for your car. But speaking of change, we mentioned Bengals. We mentioned the quote unquote purgatory, if you will, the struggles that they went through of making it to the playoffs, not really getting there, and then they make a change, and then it takes a little while to get things figured out before all of a sudden here they are. They find an alpha, they make the changes needed to get the additions needed, and look at this, back-to-back postseason success stories. Maybe the similar thing could happen for the West Miller, the basketball team. Rough one. After what was probably, would you guys say maybe the best half of Bearcat basketball of the Wes Miller tenure leading up to this past Saturday was that first half at USF?
It's up there. There have been a bunch of 50-point halves already this year. The defense has gotten better. The rebounding has gotten better. That's an improved USF team that knocked off UCF over the weekend. I don't know if I'm ready to say it's by far the best, but it's it's definitely one of the cleaner halves of basketball that they've played for sure.
Yep.
It was a fun game to watch, and it was as good a half as I can remember. That's not saying a whole lot, as I don't traditionally remember halves. But no, it was a lot of fun watching them knock down damn near everything after having an abysmal starting 5 minutes of that half.
Yeah, it was rough, but bounced back, won that one, and won it pretty easily. If we're actually thinking about it, it was 85-69 final, but it was definitely more of a spread than that throughout the entire game. Then comes Sunday. First off, weather, guys. When I woke up, started getting ready, hopped in the car, and all of a sudden I'm seeing texts about crazy snow and the 513 and this, that, and the other. People are nervous about attendance. I had no idea that a blizzard was going to hit Cincinnati, but I guess that's kind of what took over. Your thoughts?
Well, it's just one of those stupid situations where they predicted no snow or very little snow, and everybody woke up to like 3 inches of snow. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Someone's got to be held accountable at WLWT 5.
Okay.
Just 5, nowhere else.
Just 5. Me and my buddies have been on their ass on Twitter just for various stuff around the city, so I'm gonna hop on the train and dog WLWT 5. Get your weatherman together right now.
Hey,
You've literally got one job. You got one job. What's the weather going to be like tomorrow in fucking Cincinnati?
Who's having a tougher weekend? The Dallas Cowboys kicker,
Brett yeah, I was about to say that.
Or the WLWT 5 weatherman.
Oh, Doppler.
Yeah, I was watching that at a bar yesterday as well, and they were like, "You have one job. You literally have one job." Every time that he came onto the field, and he ended up being kind of a beast in the second half for them.
That was my favorite part. Was before the game. He missed a couple before the game, and Jerry Jones came down from the box
pep talk
to have a little chat.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So listen, I'm gonna have you off after the game if you don't fix this.
I'm gonna have you off right now. Right
I will
now,
kill
you're not
you.
gonna make it to the game. We're gonna take you out back. You're gonna be floating. You're gonna be a rock tied to your shoe in the bay somewhere between San Francisco and Oakland.
Yep.
And then Brett Marin, he immediately looks over at CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee's like, "I don't got your back no more, man. No, I am off of it now." But so it was kind of a blur start to what was expected to hopefully be a big crowd, because you mentioned Memphis and the of course the blessed AAC granting us with the beautiful transition from the basketball game right into the Bengals game. So now you add the Bengals game on top of what is a pretty crappy weather situation. And I'm sure quite a lot of people were like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and catch them all at the my humble abode. So attendance took a bit of a hit.
I thought it was nice what they did, though, in regards to allowing any student to come to the game free. And what was it, after the 8-minute, or was it after the 12-minute that they said people could come down from the upper bowl down to the lower bowl?
Yeah, I didn't quite hear the announcement, but I was coming in off Hopple. I saw a couple of people on the side. I was thinking maybe I bring them with me to cheer on the Bearcats a little bit, but it definitely took a hit with that. It seems to always do it with Memphis last year. Of course, that game was Ice Storm. It was just I don't know. It is what it is, but definitely had a bit of an effect on the attendance. But when they need to be loud, of course, the place is loud. But I don't know. I made the weird trip over, and I made it. But in attendance there, of course, you get the beginning of the game, and the technical foul, offsetting on both teams' best player. I understand wanting to take control of games, but I think that's just taking it a completely different level. It's different if it's the NBA. You have 6 of them that you can use. But giving a foul to Kendrick Davis and Landers Nolley right off the bat is not the way that you want the officials to start.
What's gained by that? Like, at that point, you haven't said anything. Like, can't you just talk to both guys, like, look, cut the shit, fellas. Like, not today. Like, can't you be an actual official and officiate and mitigate the situation instead of taking the best player on each team and slapping a technical on them 1 minute into the fucking game? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I know. It just seems like I don't know if the officials, you see it a lot in the NBA, just the crackdown, but maybe just the past couple of years you see that hard like turn to like being all over the players. I mean, you don't really see that much in football. They feel a little more removed.
They talk to you guys a lot, though, don't they?
Oh yeah,
like,
oh yeah. Like they'll give us warnings, like maybe 2 warnings too. Sometimes I mean, like
yeah,
there's some heinous shit being said and done on a football
They gave
field.
Ivan 10 warnings in one game.
So yeah, I'm with you guys. Like I think, especially at the beginning of the game, it'd be one thing if they were like going at it all game and like he talked to him, but coming out the gate like that, I thought it was bullshit
just
too.
dumber than shit.
Well, the TV said that they tried to corral the emotions that run high in this game, and I'm just thinking to myself, for Memphis in particular, not even, I mean, Cincinnati had quite a few people returning, but for Memphis in particular, they weren't returning that many guys from last year.
Right.
So
yeah, and it's weird. Like I don't know if this is a situational thing, but like Malcolm Dandridge and Alex Lomax are 2 players who are out with injury right now for Memphis, and neither of them even traveled with the team. I thought that was kind of weird. I didn't see either of them on the bench. They might have been hidden somewhere, but I didn't see them. I thought that was kind of strange. But yeah, there's really no connection from one year to the next, other than Kendrick Davis being at SMU for multiple years and then DeAndre Williams. But yeah, I guess a high level game. But yet again, the crowd was decimated by the weather and the Bengals situation. So it was kind of strange. But yeah, you pick up that, and then immediately Davis is guarding Landers down on the post a minute later. And I just knew immediately whichever player makes the wrong decision, whether it's Landers backing down one step too many, or whether it be Kendrick kind of leaning in a little bit, I knew another foul was going to be called on one of the 2 of them. And of course, it was the flop charge on Landers, picking up his second foul 2.5 minutes into the game. I don't know. That's a way to completely take control of the game for the officials, and they were able to do so. I don't like it, but in return, that was a 12-3 start to the game with Landers on the bench, and they actually brought Landers right back in after that. Do you think the slow start had to do with kind of the lack of flow from the early whistles? Obviously, it's been something that's been an issue with the team up to now, but I don't know. I just kind of felt like that was a way to really take a lot of air out of the sails for both sides.
Yeah, it always is, but it's just a common theme that big games this year, just slow starts. Slow starts kill you, man. I mean, especially if you're playing a good team, you need to see some shots go in to start the game, and that's something the Bearcats, just with these like higher profiled opponents, they've just been struggling with. And it writes itself. It just finds a way to end up being another loss in the column, and it's obviously a negative trend we can't seem to shed. But when it comes down to it, you got to have your guys step up. You can't shoot 40% from the floor and expect to win a lot of games, especially
can't go 1 of 13 from 3 in the first half.
Yeah. What were they 20? What were they, like 6 for 20 something
for the game
total?
Yeah, they made 5 in the second half. So
6 of 24.
Yeah, this is what I posted last night on the board. We talked last year about the team had a lot of pieces, but they didn't have any parts. And by that, in Danco Joe auto care terms, they had a lot of nuts and bolts and screws and the things that you need to build parts, but they didn't have really any parts. This year they got a lot of parts. Mm-hmm. They've got tires and they've got a wheel, but I don't know that they have an engine, right? I don't know that they have a Kendrick Davis. That, like, when Memphis got in trouble a couple times in that game, when UC started to creep back in, Kendrick Davis said, "Give me the ball. I'm going to the bucket. I'm either going to score or I'm getting to the free throw line. Like, I'm going to offensively drag us across the finish line. You know, like Vic, career high, had a great game. Landers had a really good game. Dave didn't have his best game, but he did get to the line. He made 10 of 11 from the line. He was effective to get his 15 points. But then there was nothing else. And we've seen it so much in big games that they just don't have, like what Dez meant to you guys, Ryan.
Yeah.
When Dez showed up on the scene, where Dez and Mike Warren might have been the engine on that first team, where Mike was just like, not losing, don't care, give it to me 40 times, and I'm going to get us across this goal line at the end of the game to get us singing "We Got the Dub" in the locker room, like that. But I don't know who on this team has shown that ability to say, we're not losing. We're getting this win and getting into the locker room happy in the bigger games. And I don't know how much of that is they don't have that person on the roster. And I don't know how much of it is just not having done it. You know what I mean? Like, they get in these big games and they played with it. There's been very few times. The first Houston game last year, Ohio State got out of hand, like late in that game. But for the most part, they've been in striking distance in all these games, but they haven't gotten over the hump. I wonder how much of it is just if they could get over the hump in one or two, the ball starts rolling downhill, because then they have that, that little swag. Maybe that's, and I think I said it last night in the nightcap. Do you feel like this team has swag? Like, you feel like this team, you see them walk on the court, like, you're on our court, we're winning this fucking game.
No.
I don't sense that yet.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, going back to the point we're talking about the slow start, it's like we have to keep clawing back to get within striking distance. And like, that's hard to do. That takes a lot of energy, a lot of emotion. And all right, you get it to 4. It's like, all right, we just emptied damn near the whole tank to get back into this thing. We've been doing that all the first half. And it just, sometimes you just can like run out of gas, run out of luck sometimes too. And I when you were talking about guys to carry us like over the hump, the way Dave was playing at the beginning of the year, I was like, oh, he could be the guy. He's got the experience. He's been on the team longer. He's been playing basketball longer than most of these guys. But then you're like, oh, we got Nolly, who's got the skill, the shot, but it's just like neither of those guys, when push comes to shove, when it's crunch time, it's like you're not getting the best of them, it seems like.
Well, I think here's the problem with Dave. And it's not a problem. It's just reality. Dave is not a downhill guy, right? Dave is not get in the lane.
No one on the team is.
Right. No, they don't have one. But for Dave, what's going to cause those inconsistencies is Dave's a jump shooter. And he takes a lot of long twos. He takes a lot of threes. That is, he's got a nice floater. He's got a decent mid-range game. But when teams are blitzing him, like they've been doing, or they've been high hedging, or they're playing aggressively defending him off the ball screen to where he can't turn the corner. He doesn't have a counter, right?
Right.
He can't split it and get down the lane like great point guards do, right? They come off of that. They read the coverage and they attack it. That's not who he is. So you're going to have inconsistency with him because he doesn't have that 3-level scorer thing to, like, he's a 2-level scorer, and it's the mid-range and the 3-point shot. And
some would say the mid-range isn't, you shouldn't really have that. Yeah.
But it's what he does well.
Yeah.
but he can't get to the rim and
not super
draw
big.
contact there. Right.
Yeah,
He's
that
small.
doesn't
So
help.
that's what teams do is they put, especially in conference, they put longer guys on him.
He's quick though. I mean, he's really good laterally. I think he's got a really good first step. It's like, but at the end of the day, like everyone's quick, everyone's athletic. Like this is like really good basketball. So that gap of athleticism is so small. And like you get Dave, 6'1", like, all right, you might get a half a body past the defender, but how the hell is he going to go up there in the trees and be able to finish or draw fouls? So
there are ways to do it. It's just not his game.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and Chad, I think you pointed out the amount of times that Dave was able to get to the free throw line. He gets a bulk of those with that pump fake, and then going into the defender and then getting via that.
He plays off the step back,
right?
Because he's so good at the step back and takes so many of the step backs that he'll step back, and if he sees you lunging, then he'll get you up in the air and put the foul on you, which is great. That's if you're gonna be a jump shooter, it's super beneficial to have something like that in your arsenal.
But numerous times
it's going to make you inconsistent if you're a 2-level scorer, and one of those levels isn't putting the ball in the basket from 2 feet.
Which he gets by his guy numerous times and has him on his hip, which you see Kendrick Davis do. What Kendrick is able to do is use that contact to get to the free throw line, and that's what past Bearcats have done before. But it's just something that's not in the arsenal. And you mentioned kind of the same thing with Landers. It's like you see him get past his defender or have a step, but it's to gather and pull up for a little 10 to 15 footer. It's not to get all the way to the rim, and that's just the game. I think it's a lot of the players on the team right now are all jump shooters. I think Dan Skillings is probably the one player that shows the knack to want to get all the way to the rim every single time. He just has a little bit longer to develop that next step of finishing at the rim, which, I mean, when he gets there, it's going to be something special to watch. But yet, again, going back to this game, it's like, you have certain players step up when you need them, but then when you ultimately need the players to step up who have throughout the season, like Adams Woods wide open for a 3 numerous times, that they miss. And, whether it's the point where it's like, okay, well, certain players in that situation can knock down those shots, or whether it's, Micah has shown the ability to, but maybe he's not someone who can at a consistent notch. It just seems as if the whole thing is kind of shown through the high-level opponents when they play, because Memphis is going to be an NCAA tournament team unless they lose some pretty bad games down the stretch. I think they're projected by most bracketologists. So it's just
it's also the nature of being a jump shooting team,
right? Yeah,
you're relying on something that you do at a failure rate of 65%.
Right.
They fail on 65% of the threes that they take, and that is one of the better team shooting percentages in program history. This is a good jump shooting team, but when you fail at something 65% of the time, the law of averages are that sometimes you're going to be 1 for 13 and a half, whether you take good ones or not. That's how it works. You imagine, you guys did it, Ryan. You guys ran kickers out there for a couple years that hit on about 1 of 13. From time to time.
Bryce Burton.
Yep.
Career practice percentage. Yeah.
It's the nature of being a jump shooting team. You're gonna live with it and die by it from time to time. Now, we talked about this last night. I love the adjustment that Wes made. Where not only were they high hedging on ball screens to push Dave back, but then they were switching on the wings. So any of the actions that were coming up from the wing, they had the defender ready to switch, and not only switch, but switch and deny, and have his body in position where they couldn't make that pass from the point to the wing without the guy having to come all the way up the floor and having it be super contested. So the counter was to roll Vic hard to the rim.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Vic ended up with the career day. He would come set the ball screen, and he would either slip it early as they were setting the hedge, or he would wait, let the guard come off of it 2 steps, slip straight to the rim, and get easy baskets that way. I thought that was a great adjustment by Wes to recognize, okay, this is the way that they're trying to take us out of our offense. Let's go to something that we don't use quite as much, right?
Yeah. And I think Vic will be hard on himself as well for missing the free throws that he did, especially that front end of the 1-and-1 coming out of the timeout would have brought them back within, I think, 5. And instead he misses it, and Memphis extends the lead again. Aaron, what is a quick fix? Is there a quick fix to these bigger, higher level games and trying to come out on top? Because you look at the record right now at 14-7, 5-3 in the conference, and it's not like it's the sky is quite falling yet. You know what I mean? It's the losses have been to teams that are good teams, outside of NKU and I mean Temple's even looking pretty good right now. So, what is there a quick fix, or is this kind of just something where steadily you just hope that they're able to find something that clicks against these higher level teams?
I mean, you could actually use Davenport as a guy off the bench instead of waiting 3 or 4 minutes to bring him in. If you truly wanted to have him be a guy that you were highlighting with that second string coming in, and really allow.
What do you mean there? What do you mean there?
I mean,
bring
you
him
could
in
really
at 90
allow.
seconds.
I feel like that's what we're doing right now. I mean,
Been coming in at about 4 minutes, right around the first TV timeout.
I feel like it's been a quicker trigger than that, but in any case, I don't know. I don't feel like they're really I think DeJulius is bringing the ball up. I brought this up last night. DeJulius is bringing the ball up an awful lot, and I'd like to see Mike Adams-Woods be the guy bringing the ball up and let Dave play off the ball more to allow him to open up his game a little bit more. You can potentially plan a little bit more around Landers, or I don't know why they wouldn't be doing that already, though. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, agree with me or not, I think that there are some holes on the team at certain times with certain lineups. And, I think this team is one solid, 4 away from being a pretty doggone good team. One that's sniffing around the bubble right now, like a DeAndre Williams level type player at the 4. Obviously that's not something that's just going to, sprout up out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, you have JD.
DeAndre Williams played with Penny.
He did, right. So we'll have to sprout some Miracle Grow from 1980 and see if it works out. But no, it just seems as if the squad is just not that far away. It's just this team in particular is just not that far away from sniffing the bubble. If they would have somehow won that game on Sunday, then we'd be talking a completely different tune right now. The possibility of getting hot against these teams, as you see, UCF is all of a sudden looking beatable. I'm not saying Houston would lose another one at home to a team that they shouldn't, but it seems as if everyone's looking vulnerable, but there's not that quick fix on the roster right now. So I don't know. It seems like there's got to be some sort of way to bring out some wins down the stretch, because the next wind of games is going to be pretty tough. Tulsa's the cupcake. You'll easily take that. But 3 out of those other 4 games, you're at Houston, home against UCF, and then at Tulane. That is a barn burner of a stretch right there. Ryan, anything that you think that, just some juice in the team? I guess a week off. A week off is pretty much a bye week for the football team. So what's a refresher that you guys were able to do to kind of spruce up new life when you came back after the break?
It was just time away. It practice was a little shorter, and you felt like you could just reset everything. You could reset your life, whether it be school, socially, and football. You can heal up. Just not that you love your teammates, you love your coaches, and everyone else does. It's just it's always good to like get a little break, especially when basketball is even more grueling than football. Maybe not physical contact wise, but the amount of games, the amount of travel, and it just takes a lot out of you. And I think it'd be good for guys to kind of heal up. Just I guarantee everyone's sore, probably got nicks and different little minor things going on. Maybe get on the gun, get some shots up for some guys. Maybe time to reset their confidence. So I think that you got to find a way to win 3 out of those 4. I mean, if they can come out of that 3-1, I think that'd be damn good. But maybe this little time off will help them get there.
Yeah, it's just you see the upsets that happen in college basketball. Whether it be that Temple win at Houston on Sunday or plethora of other ones all throughout the country, and you wonder what were they able to do that society wasn't able to figure out. Chad, is it kind of something that one day you're able to just mentally be there where you need to be? Because it's not like Temple came in and shot lights out against Houston. It's not like Houston had
they defended their ass off. Houston
right.
scored 52 points.
It was 55-52. It was a very low scoring game.
Yeah, I thought they only won. Wasn't it 50?
It was 55, 54, whatever it was. They were in the 50s. Both were in the 50s.
Yeah. 56, 55. Yeah.
It's what we've talked. You've got to be able to dance all the dances. On a night when your shot's not falling, you've got to be able to, going into that game, that Kendrick Davis and DeAndre Williams are their only chance to win, and they combine for 47 points.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a night where the shots aren't falling. Okay, go get in a stance, go play some damn defense, and win the game. Like, they scored 65 or whatever. Like, how many games have we seen this team win scoring a lot less than 65?
Yeah.
But you give up 72. You give up 72. That means you got to be hitting. You got to be making your shots. Like you've put yourself in a situation defensively that you're going to have to be on offense, and they weren't. So when you combine not playing great defense and struggling with your bread and butter on offense, how are you going to win that game?
The answer is 1, by the way. There's only one game they've won by scoring 65 or less this season.
Yeah. And Aaron, I went back and looked. Davenport, the last 4 games, has checked in right around the 17-minute mark. Sometimes, depending on when the whistle blows, sometimes it's right at about 17 minutes. Sometimes it's down around that first media stop. So Odie's generally playing the first 3 to 4 minutes, and then JD is coming in for a spot after that. I just wanted to make sure I was right in my thinking, like make sure we were on the same page.
What's the strategy with that? Because it's not like it's in like limbo. He's not starting, but he's also not really like coming off the. It'd be like
I think the strategy was to give that bench unit some offense.
Yeah,
because when you had Odie there, like Odie, Dan, Josh, Kalu a little bit now.
Jarrett Hensley was getting more burned.
He hasn't played in 6 games,
right?
So I'm not counting it. Like,
I'm saying before they sent.
Yeah,
is he hurt or is it just
coach's decision? DNP
out of the rotation. Yeah.
I think that's kind of what's behind it more than anything is try to get him as like a spark for that second unit, so you're getting some points out of that group. I mean, as it turned out, he scored 6 and the rest of the bench scored 3. So he doubled up the bench scoring. And I think also, Ryan, when you're playing him with the ones, you want to make sure those shots are going to Vic, Dave, and Landers, right?
Yeah.
So if he's out there taking shots from them with the ones, it's more of a detriment than if he's out there when you've got some second unit guys in, and maybe he can give you that offensive spark when you're kind of mixing and matching through the middle of each half.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I think what it was probably that Temple game because it was 2 points off the bench with Skillings. Hensley had 4 minutes in that game, and I think that was the last game Hensley played was at Temple, and then Josh Reed and Odi Oguama combined for 0. So I think as well, you've seen an interesting rise in the defense as well as rebounding since the Temple game, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Odi Oguama is starting on the court and giving a little bit of physicality and a defensive mentality to the beginning of the game to kind of settle in instead of just, JD having a couple looks from deep that don't go. And that's, pretty much turnovers in the early stretch and leads to, points the other way. And all of a sudden you're in the hole that the Bearcats were in this past week as well. So I don't know. But also another thing, I think they sub out Odie early because he's the backup 5 on top of
being. So you've got to turn around and then sub him back in for Vic in 2 minutes. So that is a big part of it as well.
Yeah,
sure.
It's weird, man. It's a tough time. Injuries obviously hurt, and we've mentioned that for quite a while. But it's a build. And Chad, you started that thread, and it's picked up steam because this is the time of quick fixes in college basketball, and you see outliers that have been able to do so. Where whether it be Jerome Tang at Kansas State or TJ Otzenberger at Iowa State. It's just weird timing of the whole transfer portal and different ways to attack building a team, but it's a weird situation as well with the AAC and transitioning to the Big 12 next year.
Well, like the thing about Kansas State, Brent, they took a guy that virtually nobody else would touch.
Right. Didn't play in 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Keontae Johnson, and it's awesome to see him playing well.
Great
but that
score.
dude collapsed on the floor and was almost Hank Gathers. Like they took a chance because what did they have to lose? Right? Like you're starting over with a new coach, and I love me some Jerome Tang. That seems like a really fun dude to play for.
Yeah.
But they took a chance that very few others were willing to take, and it's paying dividends.
Right.
But you have to account for it at surface level that they took a guy that almost died on the court.
Yep.
They rolled the dice and won. Credit to more power to him. Like, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're gonna do that, man, when you're gonna go all in on we're bringing in 9 new guys, you better be in a position to be ready for an entire reset of your program. And I just don't like going into year 3 of the Wes Miller era. Now is when we're gonna reset. Like that flushes away 2 years of building culture and figuring out what your style is at this level, continuing to figure out who you are as a coach for a guy that's, not even 40 yet. Like, I just think it's silly you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. I agree. I think you can do a mix of both. You can have the best of both worlds, whether it be having the foundation and adding pieces on top of it. And
correct
pieces that fill holes immediately. Like, a good 4 on this team with Vic down low and with Nolly, Dave, and Micah immediately makes this team that much better because then you do have JD filling in a true bench role, and you do have Odie coming off the bench supplying that defense and that rebounding.
And they genuinely thought Kalu, who averaged 16 and 7 in the A10, was going to be that guy, and they missed. Like,
right. And Kalu had other Power 5 offers as well, so it's not like West completely missed. Other people were after him too. So yeah, I don't know. It just seems it's hit or miss. And if you're able to hit and you're able to bring in the right pieces, then all of a sudden you're speaking happy and you're having a good time. But it just sucks that game happened, and then now it's a week off, and you've got Houston coming off of a home conference loss to Temple, who I'm sure now Kelvin Sampson said everything is on us. That loss is my fault. That loss is on us, and I'm sure that's a big nut check time for them, and they're going to come out guns a-blazing in both of their games this week. I don't know who they have before Cincinnati, but I imagine UCF at UCF on Wednesday, so that'll be a fun one to watch, and then of course Cincinnati on the road Saturday on CBS, and guess where the game is right before Cincinnati versus Houston on CBS.
You got things mixed up, bro.
What's that?
They're off this week. Then they play Houston Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, you said UCF. At
No,
UCF.
no.
That's
So Houston's playing UCF.
Oh, okay. My bad. My brain's my bad. I heard you wrong. That's my apologies.
I mean, shoot, no. I wish that was the case, but
What's the game before?
it is sadly that team in Norwood playing at Creighton. So,
Go Blue Jays.
Go Blue Jays. Because man, it would be one heck of a rough start to Saturday if that was back to back. But anyway, so you got a whole week to try and get things figured out, get things squared away, and put your best effort forward at Houston, because this Memphis game, backdoor cut after backdoor cut for them.
They did correct. We didn't see much of it in the second half. The first half, it was a problem.
Bloodbath.
Tough to see numerous people losing players behind them on numerous plays.
There were plenty of lazy passes that ended up being fast break dunks or layups too. So
the Dan one was obviously egregious.
Yeah,
I don't remember any others that were as bad. Like in my brain, Aaron, I see that Houston game where there was like
the Davenport right after the block.
Well, that was that
was a steal, much, yeah. But I don't know,
and I love Jeremiah, and I love everything he's done for UC and the city and everything, but he does have the tendency where he makes a really good play, where that next segment he does feel like he's
just drops the bag.
I mean, just and I love the confidence, and I wish every other player on the team just had that ultimate confidence all the time. But sometimes you don't have to pile on a good play with a bad play. Just take the good play and then see what happens. The behind the back dribble was just it was rough, but it's then he knocks down the 2 threes later on. So who knows? Anything else in this one though, guys? I think
such a grab bag with him.
It truly is. I mean, Memphis they're a solid team, but it's a team that we've mentioned it before. They added obviously Kendrick Davis is one of the best guards in the country. I mean,
he's
one
really
of the best
good
players in college basketball. So you add that type of player to the mix, and his story's pretty cool. How Penny had said that he wanted Kendrick Davis for a while and told Kendrick how much he loves his game, and Penny actually texted Kendrick the second that Kendrick entered the portal last offseason, and Kendrick Davis replied back to Penny's text saying, "Who's this?" And
yeah, I'm sure that was the first time they talked.
Right.
No cover up there or anything. That was definitely the first time they had ever had communication before he entered the portal. Sure.
And then Penny's response was, "Call me back and you'll find out." And it was Penny Hardaway, and I guess that sealed the deal for Kendrick to go there, and sure some dollar signs as well. But I don't know.
I don't believe any of that story. I believe that whole story was fabricated to cover up their having a negotiated agreement before he even entered the portal.
Well, it came out of Kendrick Davis's own mouth, but it is weird how many in-conference transfers there have been in the AAC. It is kind of strange, but
it's just catching up, dude. If you look at the SEC and the Big Ten,
right,
like almost every kid that leaves one school ends up at another school in the conference.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it is uncanny how much that
strange.
shit happens in those two conferences.
I think everything's being set up in the handshake lines.
Hey,
See you next year.
Hit me up.
even Cincinnati with Landers. But no,
Tell your uncle to call me back.
Yeah. Man, let coach know to hit me. You ain't happy here. You ain't happy here. That's why, Aaron, when you notice like the nobodies, the coaches give it this, and then all of a sudden there'll be like a main guy, and the coach is like
giving him a hug, talking in their ear.
Yeah, and then like he's like patting the guy's chest and like well no, if you so there was a game ECU versus Houston like 3 years ago, where in the post-game press conference, they were asking Kelvin Sampson, you were talking with Jaden Gardner a while afterwards, after the game today, what were you letting him know? And Kelvin was like, I was just telling him I really love his game. I've really been watching him from afar, and I think he's a really, really talented player. And it's just like, okay, all right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then Jaden Gardner transferred to Virginia, and he's on it.
I was just telling him he plays a lot like we play.
Yeah.
So that might be something to think about.
You look great in front of, 4,000 at the Fertitta Center. So
whatever you're making, I'll double.
Exactly.
He was at ECU. He wasn't making anything, bro.
Wow, you're able to double it.
Free tickets to the Boneyard was what he was making. Now, Chad, I did like your explanation, of Desmond Ritter on the teams with Ryan, because you look back at like that USF game when Des was a sophomore at USF, and it was a dirty, yucky game, kind of low scoring. Des is hurt, and on that last drive, setting up the game-winning field goal, Des just caught his own number the entire way, and it doesn't seem like there's that type of guy. Like Dave did it against Xavier, but
he tried, yeah.
But that was making making miraculous shots.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no one that's going to be like, I'm going to drive to the hole, I'm going to get fouled, I'm going to get things going. And
Landers did it against Arizona.
Well, that was threes. He was making a bunch of threes.
Still, I mean, he put the team on his back.
I agree. Well, actually, Josh Reed did at the end to get the cover for me. So Josh Reed put the team on his back.
Get out of here.
It was big time. But yeah, I mean, either way, it's tough to battle back from the hole. They came back, then they let up another big run, came back, let up another big one. It's hard to do that playing from behind at all times.
Do you think Kendrick Davis?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you think Kendrick Davis was actually flopping?
I don't think on the one where
I think the whole thing was. I think the whole thing was staged.
Oh, when Penny took him out and he was on the.
Yeah, they didn't even do it. Like there was just a coach sitting by him. He didn't look at his ankle. He didn't touch his ankle. He was just standing there. Like, what are you doing? Just breathing on him. What are you doing?
I'm gonna need you to get. I'm gonna pay for this. I'm gonna need you to go to the grocery store next time you go and get like 4 containers of aluminum foil, just to have sitting next to you. So every time you have a conspiracy, you can just pull off.
It wasn't a conspiracy. You could see what happened. He didn't do anything. He just
put the 10 foil over your head.
Just sat by him.
I like that. The conspiracy corner with Aaron.
Yeah, conspiracy corner with Aaron. You turn your camera off, and 10 seconds later you come back with the aluminum foil on your head, and you're like, "Now hear me out." That's got to be the opening line. Now hear me out.
Why are you trying to make me Alex Jones? Get out of here.
AJ.
Conspiracy corner. The Bearcats allowed the Ohio Bobcats to get a big lead on them back in 2018, only so that they could show how good they are.
I'm going to get you one of these that just says conspiracy on it. Put on the wall right behind you.
Unreal.
That's going to be another game I referenced, Ryan, was like, even the early teams got down big. They figured out a way to climb back and win.
That game was crazy, man. That is some crazy shit. Some terrible play calling by the Bobbies, but we're going to take advantage of that.
You've got to find a way to have somebody drag you across the finish line sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
They haven't had that yet.
Yeah.
Just haven't. I think I made Aaron mad again.
No. But, I mean, yet again,
No, not with that.
Cincinnati's going to beat.
You know you're a
teams.
conspiracy theorist.
I like a good conspiracy every once in a while.
Yeah.
And spell the C's in conspiracy with C pause. Just put the little.
Perfect.
That's outstanding. I
That's
love
funny.
it.
Locking in. Anything else basketball wise, guys? I mean, they've got a week off, so then it's back.
What's next to chip inside the basketballs?
I don't have any more on basketball. Oh man.
Well,
Guess that'll bring us
My
to our
goodness.
first timestamp, though.
yeah, it will. It will.
Hold on. I wasn't ready for that. I was too busy choking myself laughing at the chip and the basketballs. Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next-day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick, 513-470-2029. Reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
There we go. Quick Paper Supply, baby. Well, a couple of tweets were sent out. First off, the standard is set. Then, off-season training and airplane metaphors. The plane has departed. That's right. Football team is back. They are lifting weights. They are in the weight room. Mr. Nico Palizzetti is getting them prepared for yet another season of Bearcat football. Ryan, when the squad gets all back together, day one, workouts, what are those vibes normally? And what do you think they were with now a new man in charge?
So it's normally a little, you don't go right in. The first couple days are kind of like ease your way in. That first Friday, you just get shit on basically. But the first days they're awesome. Just good to be back around the guys. The weight room is like the perfect like melting pot of stupidity, fun, craziness. So and everything I've heard about Nico is that he's from the same tree, you could really say, like the Marathi tree, not the Mitch Marathi tree, the Mickey Marathi tree, but
The Mitch Marathi tree.
And so, I mean, I guarantee you he's juiced up, getting the guys going, and the guys say they love him already. So I think it's great fit. I think he's going to do great things. So I'm super excited about his hire. Looking forward to meeting him.
So
Does that surprise you as a guy who has followed Brady at every stop that the guys
No.
like him?
No, not at all.
So Nico's not running around saying, wake up, wake up, wake up, time for practice.
Wake up. Literally, if I could like time it up to punch through the door and hit Mitch in the face during camp when he would do that, I wish I could have done that so bad. Love Mitch, but there's nothing worse than 6:45, fifth day in a row, camp higher ground. Wake up. God. Bring it back to pieces. Oh my goodness, man.
Well,
Don't miss that.
do not miss that. One thing that you see though is pictures and videos. You got Dante Corleone, Jack Dingle, you got Dominic Perry, you got it's just great seeing the old faces coming back in, meaning not only is there going to be this new staff that's in place, but you've got the same core of players that are here. Jawan Briggs still there, Malik Van getting lifted. The mesh of those old players with the staff is refreshing to see, especially when it comes out on the field and as things get ready to get moving forward. as well, on top of that, is the portal has closed. The portal to enter in has closed, meaning that the roster right now is set. No more defects. I think the last one was Drew Donnelly entering and then heading
I was
to
surprised
Texas
about that.
State. Yeah, that was very interesting. I don't know if that's a going home thing or what it was, but yeah, I mean, I guess they did, bring in a lot of new wide receiver transfers, but even still, I thought Donnelly had a bright future here. With the portal closing, you kind of get a little bit of a look to what the team is, the roster is heading into spring ball. What is kind of just some, obviously we're going to touch more as spring ball gets even closer. I think probably a month out, Chad, if you had to guess, probably a month and a half out, roughly.
Yeah, it's usually sometime like the first. I don't know what Saturday. Like you always knew with Fickle, it was going to be the first week of spring ball was the week before spring break.
Yeah.
I don't know what Satterfield's timeline is going to be, so I can't speak on that yet. But it's usually early March, and then the spring game in like that second Saturday in April has been kind of the sweet spot. I would assume it's going to be something similar to that, but I can't. Like with Luke, we knew the week before spring break he wanted to get that acclimation week out of the way, where they weren't allowed to wear pads. Get that done before spring break. Send the guys on spring break, and then have them in pads for the next 4 weeks afterwards.
Right.
Because generally it's 3 practices a week for 5 weeks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with it being about a month away, we'll have more time to talk about it. But just as the now door is shut for players to leave and enter the portal, I guess what is kind of a storyline that you're going to be tracking early on in the spring ball practices? Who's kind of showing out, whether it be a position group that you're monitoring or
Shit, the first 2 weeks of spring practice, I'm going to be trying to figure out who the hell's on the team.
Right. Exactly. But kind of a position group or something that you're kind of going to keep an eye out for. I'm going to start with Ryan and work around. Just something where obviously now the team's back and the names entering the portal is done for now. May is when it opens back up. I don't know what day in May, but for now this is your Bearcat team heading into next season. Obviously names can be added out of the portal still, but as far as entering, this is what you got. Ryan, main storyline about a month out that you're going to really start to track as a spring ball approaches.
I'm looking at quarterback and O-line. I think those are our biggest, Ben not being able to be ready to go in spring ball. You're going to really see what we got because you never know what happens in the course of a season. Injuries, just overall talent, skill level we'll have in the quarterback room is something we're going to need. And O-line was, I think they'd all tell you, the guys on the team last year, complete letdown. They got some serious work to get done. And, they don't have a lot of the guys coming back too. So it's a revamp and it's arguably one of the most important groups in football. So need to nail that down, figure some shit out there bad.
Obviously the two key spots, no doubt about it. Aaron, what's twinkling your eye?
I'm going to expand on that and just say the entire offense. I mean, you go there's not a position group that you're not familiar with. You're not really familiar with any of these guys.
Running back.
Running back.
Sure. But even with that, I think I still have question marks as to what can this running back room be behind a competent offensive line, whether that be based on coaching, whether that be based on scheme, whether that be based on talent, whatever the case was last year. But clearly they've seen that as a position of need, and they've added guys to the offensive line room. So I still don't know that we necessarily have tapped into what the running back room can be. But receiver has been decimated by the transfer portal and graduation. And, tight end room, again, graduation, not so much transfer portal. We do have one new addition, I believe. I think that's it. at tight end. But yeah, I mean, quarterback. So yeah, there's plenty of question marks on the offense.
Yeah, the one tight end was that Joey Belgian, the Western Kentucky link there. So I agree. I think running back I'm super intrigued by because Ryan Montgomery comes back, Rhino for I believe this is his final year, right? I don't think he can.
I think so.
Do
well,
another.
He's a complicated one because he's had injuries.
Gray shirt, right?
He gray shirted, COVID. I think it's his last one, but I don't want to go on the record saying that with any certainty because he's been an interesting case study.
Well, just his experience and his veteran leadership is something big, and his name is Ryan, so he's got to be a pretty good guy. Chad,
the question at running back is going to be who fits the scheme the best, right?
Right.
Like this is a new running scheme. This is a new philosophy on running the football. So who does the staff feel, fits best in what they want to do? And we won't know that really until the season starts. We'll start to get a feel for it in spring ball, but that room is fascinating. Wide receiver is going to be fascinating. I think defensively, corner is going to be fascinating to see where, Justin Harris and Sammy Anderson and Todd Bumpus fit in. Do any of those guys that were young guys last year take a jump? I think the Taylor kid from Florida has got a chance to be your number one guy. I'll go just because everybody else is focusing on offense. I'll go corner on defense just because.
I thought of that one too. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Safety is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, the entire secondary because you're losing Hicks. I think, it felt like you're looking at threats and Armorion Smith, but do a new set of eyes in that secondary. Can anybody make a jump there? Because it's not a certainty, I don't think, that Hicks or that threats and Armorion are just, penciled in as surefire things. Mm-hmm. Does Dingle give it a run? Do we see Isaiah Cox finally take that next step in his development? That one's going to be interesting to me as well because I thought Hitch was, in my opinion, one of the better safety coaches in the country. Yeah. And we saw that with the development when he took over that room, how well they've played at safety over the past 4 years. But new eyes, new opportunity, and you're going to see that across a lot of the roster. Like that's one of the things about coaching changes that excites a roster. Mm-hmm. Guys that feel like maybe I've been pigeonholed, maybe I, got buried behind somebody that I think I'm better than, or that I think I've got more potential than. Now you're going to get a chance to step up and show what you got. Linebacker could be interesting.
Yep, exactly. New staff, man. It's like a reset. It's like guys get excited. It'll be, it's like a little jolt. It's like a personal jolt you'll see across a lot of guys trying to either revive their careers, and then that's going to make the guys, quote unquote, in front of them have to step it up even more too. Yeah. So there are positives coming out of new coaches, but you also lose familiarity, experience, culture, knowledge, all that stuff. So,
Chad, Jordan Young from Florida. I'm sure someone will probably try and get you on that at corner. That is interesting to see. Who
if you're worried about outsmarting my brain right now, you're well ahead of the fucking curve.
There you go. So the thing
you want to talk medical terms? Let's fucking go. You want to talk testing results and like hemoglobin and like white cell blood count, shit like that? I am fucking on it.
Why was hemoglobin the name drop that came to your head?
That's part of what she's like. When you get a stem cell,
why not?
And it messes up all your blood, your platelets, your white blood cells, red blood cells, your hemoglobin, your plasma, your platelets. Like I'm in tune with all of that shit right now. It occupies all of my available brain capacity.
Right.
We got full Chad brain power.
It's not a lot. Like that's
I don't know. You got a big dome over there. That's a lot of
it's
brain
big,
in there.
but you only use like 10% of it. So
Got some air in there, maybe.
Hot air.
quite a bit of that. That's more from the chest. More from the chest. Yeah. If you're bragging about being smarter than me on football names, right? Like that's the thing that's going to be difficult about me for spring practice is I have missed so much of this, like the day-to-day of it. I
think it's gonna be hard for anyone at swing practice, though.
Well, not normal. Like normally, though, my job is to like have all this shit memorized in my brain.
Right.
It is not there right now. So I'm literally going to take 2 weeks, being like, "Who the fuck is that?
Right.
Where did he transfer? Like, looking at my shit. Where did he transfer from? I don't remember that at all.
No.
That guy looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Came from where? He's number what?
Blast it off.
How many years does he have left? That I'm going to be you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna. Here's going to be the ultimate question from here on out, especially with the transfer portal. Is he 2020 or is he 2021 and beyond?
Right.
Because if he's 2020, he's got COVID year. If he's 21 and beyond, they don't have the extra year. So that's like, okay, shit. What high school class was he in?
But then you still have to make sure they haven't redshirted or.
Well, but that's normal. Like that's what we've always dealt with. Now, like the COVID thing throws off the whole math of everything because when you hear they have a COVID year, you're just like, I don't know. I don't know what their when they redshirted, how they redshirted, what their COVID year is. I don't know. He could be in college for the next 8 years. I think I saw Jakari Robinson.
I know. I was gonna say, yeah. I
posted a tweet today about his senior year at Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Jakari played for Tommy Tuberville.
No, Jakari's my age.
So you could still be playing.
Yeah.
Go get it next year.
I would. That's 7 years.
Was he Vic's first class?
Yeah.
I thought for some reason he was
maybe a Tuberville recruit.
That's what Tuberville.
He might have been the
sure.
recruit.
Yeah.
He's from.
I remember him coming to camp.
From Alabama, right?
Yeah.
I remember him coming to camp under Tuberville.
I just think it's funny that made a news story at Bowling Green because he was out practicing by himself in the snow.
Wearing his Bowling Green uniform.
Football player practices football.
Full uniform. Full uniform. Helmet, pads. Jakari was great. I loved Jakari.
The interview was fantastic. I enjoyed
one of my
watching
favorite
it.
guys. Jakari, seen him do well and big fan of him. I'll be right back.
How's he still playing college football?
Memphis, then to Bowling Green. Oh, that was a quick exit by Ryan. We know what he's going.
He's on the Stetson plan.
We know what.
Longer than that. Stetson Bennett's like Garrett Campbell's like, damn, that dude's been in college a long time.
Yeah. I mean, all the funny things that people have said about Stetson Bennett just add up, which is great.
What's the college Perry Ellis, the college basketball equivalent?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh,
Perry Ellis was at Kansas for 26 years. He played with Danny Manning.
Yeah,
he played with Danny Manning.
He's still there. I mean, you could say the same thing about like Kendrick Davis and.
What a dated reference Danny Manning is.
You know who
he's on staff. He's on staff at Louisville.
I love it.
Chad, it was that guard at Iowa who was there for like.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name. Bohannon?
Yeah, Bohannon. He definitely he gave Cincinnati the business at that.
That was one, Aaron. When I first started doing the AAU stuff, like Danny Manning walking into a gym, you were like, "Oh shit, Danny Manning,
it's going down."
Oh, Danny Manning.
You see some of these guys when you were a kid, you know.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're sitting next to them at an AAU event, and you want to be like, "Hey, I used to watch you when I was 8."
I had your basketball card.
You were a part of that miracle team, Danny.
Tops 92 set.
I was 11. That was the 88 championship, right? I was 11.
It's crazy.
Jordan Bohannon was listed as a junior in that game that they played Cincinnati, and he graduated last year. played his
Played
last game
5
for
more years
Iowa
of college
last year.
basketball.
Nuts. But Chad, for me, the number one storyline heading into that spring ball is pretty much exactly what you were kind of mentioning. Is the new staff comes in. What are some different wrinkles that they're going to find out of certain players? And I think Deshaun Pace is that number one player that kind of was mentioned as moving around a little bit. You're not too
They
sure.
mentioned him as a free safety.
Yeah,
That's why safety is fascinating.
As a nickel, even it's just we'll see what Brian Brown decides to do, but having Deshaun Pace out there roaming, kind of being a little bit more athletic of his ability is going to be fun to watch. Where they kind of pick and place different players. So I'm interested to see who will be the name from the returning players that makes that next step that people are starting to talk about. And that was going to be who I was going to ask Ryan, who's one player that he thinks will be one name that he thinks is going to kind of step up, whether it be, Jack Dingle or whether it be, a certain player that he had been playing with. But even
I think his name's Adonis Dingle.
Adonis Dingle. Yeah, that is it. Well, even David Jones. David Jones was a highly rated recruit coming out of high school. And then it was
we need to get Jack Dingle a 513 shirt deal. And just have him
Adonis Dingle
yoked up where it just says Adonis Dingle on it.
And then on the back, it'll say, P.S. I like your ankles too, Aaron.
I'm not co-signing that.
Deal. Well, Ryan, you agree? Probably Jack Dingle, maybe David Jones. Okay. Sincere Lewis one to watch too? Okay. Thanks,
Sincere
Ryan.
Lewis is one to watch for sure.
Thank you, Ryan.
Big Sincere Lewis guy.
Oh yeah, have been from the jump. I guess we can timestamp this real quick. Little football talk.
This timestamp brought to you by our good friends at Quick Paper Supply. They provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies, products like to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins, etc. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom, baby. So this past weekend, which Chad, did you have any feelings about the with that weather that was coming in, how much it would affect the junior day that Cincinnati had going on?
I mean, I thought it might put a damper on things, but apparently it didn't.
Right.
From texting back and forth with Mick a little bit and seeing the article he put up today with reactions, it feels like pretty much everybody got here. That's also one of the reasons why when you do these things in Cincinnati in late January, you focus on getting guys that are within that 50-mile radius, and then you cherry pick a little bit from there for other guys who might be able to make it up or down, whatever the case may be. But I do think that's why you focus heavily on local on these things, because you just never know what the weather's going to, is it going to snow? Is it going to ice? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be crappy? What travel conditions are like? So I think that's part of why, why they do things like they do in that junior day setting.
Yeah, well, even David DeJulius mentioned it in the post game how his mom and his brother were planning on coming, but they stopped 30 minutes out and said we aren't going to drive anymore. Almost got in an accident. So it was tough to get people in there, but it's.
I bailed on. I usually go to the hospital in the morning.
Yeah,
and I waited as soon as the game ended. I got in the car and went to the hospital and watched the Bengals game with Kelly.
Right.
But at 10, 11 o'clock, it was nasty outside.
Oh yeah, it was. I got there about 11 o'clock onto campus, 11:15, and walking to Fifth Third Arena, I walked right past multiple new members of the staff and players, and right by Nippert Stadium, and it was awesome to see kind of at that point, there was a bunch of people down on the field, kind of just playing in the snow and kind
No,
of.
they did photo shoots in the snow.
Did they do that too? Well,
No, if you look at the players,
yeah,
the recruits, they're in uniform, like doing snow angels, crawling through the snow. Like they used it to their advantage and said, you know what, we're gonna do this photo shoot a little bit out. If the guys that want to go outside,
right,
and have some fun with it, we're gonna go outside and play in the snow.
And then you saw it might have been later than with the students and the accessibility of having Nippert Stadium. I'm sure to some kids that's like, wow, that's awesome. People can have fun. It's kind of a community, a good feel, homey feel, which is something cool to take in as well. So kind of see everything that Nippert brings in its glory, even with the snow. So obviously go and read Mick's article with the player reactions without kind of cherry picking what one player another player says. Aaron, Aaron, did you read the article? No. Chad, did you read the article? Obviously, a little graze through. What was your kind of main takeaway, just over a broad scheme of what you were able to see a bunch of the people kind of have a common link?
I mean, I don't look too much into it because they all say
the same type thing. Yeah,
the same thing. It was a family atmosphere. It was really it was amazing. Really comfortable, great staff and facilities. I could see myself there. Mm-hmm. Great people, great program. I'm just scrolling through, it's all, it's all similar stuff. So, it doesn't, nothing really jumped out other than, it seemed everybody's impressed by the staff. Everybody seems to be kind of buying into the vibe from the staff, which I think is a good first step.
Yeah, which is what I kind of caught my eye with. Some people were like, they're just continuing what was previously there. It's just like it seems like it's in great hands. Program still on the rise, and those type of things. And even hearing people say the staff was great, everyone was fun. It was good talking to them. Just hearing that, instead of them being like, oh, it was a cool campus. Oh, it was fun to see what Cincinnati is like. Oh, it's this, that, and the other. You're hearing little validation that the staff is doing their part of, making them comfortable and continuing the legacy that the previous staff did here in Cincinnati. Right. And that's kind of the main thing that I was able to drag out. And now that we have Ryan back, I'm going to ask Ryan the question. When you were a player on the team, who was one underclassman, whether it be true freshman, whether it be a redshirt freshman or sophomore, that you kind of said, you know what, in 2 years, look out for this guy, that could maybe be, hey, it's ready to be his time to make an impact this upcoming season?
I remember Jaheim had a ton of potential. It was always like, man, just give him a year, give him 2 years just to get better, like mental side of the game. Ahmad Gardner, I mean, when I was watching him as a true freshman, it was like, all right, like this guy's gonna be crazy.
One that hasn't quite burst through yet.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Guys on the team right now
to check out in spring ball.
Maybe guys that you think might make a leap in spring ball that haven't yet. The Adonis.
Jack Dingle.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one because it's getting to that point now. I don't know a lot of guys on the team, like compared, like especially in the linebacker room.
Like a David Jones, maybe. It seems as if like Sincere Lewis was making a run. I don't know. Was true freshman was with you your senior year?
No, he wasn't.
Clearly, he wasn't. He was a true freshman.
Oh yeah, no. Who was the other one that I was thinking of?
Leroy Bowers, but he transferred.
He's gone. Cam Jr.
Is Junior gone?
No, he's still here.
I'd say That's tough. I don't know. I think Jaheim still has room to grow. I think Jaheim could be like a dom. He can go from like making a good impact the end of this year. I think can be like a guy who can like take over games next year. So, I mean, that'd probably be my best bet in the linebacker room. But say like I think Amarion and Threats like same kind of situation. Like take that next step from like being solid contributors to being like game affecting type of players.
What about like maybe like a Dom Perry or Rob Jackson?
Yeah, Dom. Yeah, those guys they have.
Damo.
Oh yeah, love Damo too. I mean, and he was just injured to start the year, and he had all the potential to be in there with like Dante and Eric Phillips and all those guys. And so
he got Wally pipped.
I know
by the Godfather. You never look back when you're Wally pipped by the Godfather.
No.
Did you see the Burton thing?
Oh yeah, I'm all over that shit. I see everything.
That was so funny.
I know.
The Burton thing?
They did they're doing food stuff on TikTok now.
Okay.
And they went to Skyline and had the Godfather Cholito with the Godfather.
Oh yeah,
it was good.
And Dante said, "I only got 2 because I know Nico Palizzetti's watching somewhere." But I do like how Dante's kind of bought all in on the Godfather thing. He's made it his Twitter, AVI, and he's kind of he's locked in on it. And I love it.
I know, I love it too.
I love it. But yeah, I was just interested because there's some names that you might think, whoa, this guy's right.
Where's the has-been now, man? He doesn't really know anybody anymore.
Crazy how fast that comes
Better
up.
than it never was.
Yeah.
There we go.
We'll always have Landon football in the spring game.
Oh,
2021.
Maybe Landon's ready for a big jump this year. Who knows? But,
I think he's just brain damage from back in the day, but
just from having to have you just smash into his face all the time.
Yeah.
Who is this show guy? Who was this? I can't handle it. But yeah, that's football chop.
Should have been at prom. Got his face kicked in by Royer instead.
Yeah. Should have been on the dance floor, man. You should have known better, man. Don't be stepping up on my field on my 5th spring game. I think I know a thing or two about him. You're going to get got.
Forget about it.
A quick sweep to the right. Pow!
Yep.
Option read. Pow! Yeah, big time. Anyway, we'll timestamp the little football recruiting chat.
We're good.
We're good. No timestamp, but we do love you. Quick paper supply. Let's hop in the mailbag. Let's make it short and easy. Make it fun. I think yet again, mailbag's pretty light.
It is pretty light again this week. We'll start in the football portion of the mailbag. All right. Is there any indication from Mick on guys the staff might be keying in on for 2024?
When he has it, he'll write
All right.
Not even I heard that, but sure.
When he has it, when he has that information, he'll write about it. That was what Chad yelled from the other room.
I like it.
All right. New question. Since Mick posted his article, what side of the ball do you think will be the first commit for the 2024 class, offense or defense? Also, for bonus points, will the commit be from the state of Cincinnati or not?
I don't think it will. I think it's going to be an out-of-state guy. I think it's going to be an offensive guy. That's my guess. They've been bringing a lot of tight ends in. I keep seeing that on Twitter.
Yeah, my guess is that a previous guy they had connection with from Louisville. And maybe it's just someone that or someone that, the new recruiting staff has kind of pointed out as a target that they've liked for a while and can bring them on. I don't know. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see. And Chad, same thing. If we know, we'll post it on the board.
Right.
Bring in Kirk Herbstreit's kid.
Yeah.
Only if he learns how to fucking say Cincinnati.
Man,
Cincinnati.
you can't be a parent here if you're saying Cincinnati.
Maybe. How about Chris Henry's kid? Bring him in.
Man, I would love to see him here.
He's 2025.
Six.
Like it's 6. Yeah.
Not
It's a long way to go.
not following the previous regime up to whiskey. Are we hosting more official visitors this upcoming weekend? I thought I saw a kid from Florida or Georgia tweeting he'd be on campus.
No, they're not hosting any official visitors last weekend or this weekend. It's not official visit time. It is unofficial visit time. And January is open for unofficial visits. So they will host as many as they can through the end of the month. There's not a home basketball game or like event. So I don't think it's a full-blown junior day, but they will have guys stopping in and checking things out as they are available. You won't see official visits really probably outside of transfers. You won't see any high school officials until like June for the 2023 class.
All right.
24, however they freaking count it.
There was one more question in the football mailbag. I've moved that to the Banks mailbag. We'll get to it. But that was the football portion of the mailbag.
Hey.
Real deep this week. The basketball portion of the mailbag. UC had struggled in afternoon games this year, but have played really well at night. Do you think the game start time matters? Do you know any athletes in any sport that prefer day games over night games or night games over day games?
Do you know any college kids that prefer waking up at 6 a.m. over noon?
I like
Ryan, you can speak to
3:30.
this. Yeah.
3:30 was the best because like night games, you're waiting
Hospital's calling. I'll be right back.
You're waiting all day long, and you just wanted like the game to get there. But the night atmosphere always paid off. Noon games, you're like fucking tired as hell, like eyes just crusted, doing walkthroughs in the morning.
Shouldn't have gone out last night.
Oh, yeah. Well, the best when you win, you got time to party it up. So that's why 3:30 was the best because you get done around 7:30, back home around 8:30. It's plenty of time. We didn't lose really at home either, so not when I was there. Do
you think that was different for you as a walk-on as opposed to different guys on the team, or do you think it was about the same experience for almost everybody?
In terms of the game preference time?
Well, just in general, like knowing that you needed to start and all of that, as opposed to if my number gets called.
Yeah, so I'd say it's relatively the same. I do think obviously they had more responsibilities, maybe a little more nerves, and they might not be able to get away with celebrating in certain ways that I would after the game because, you know, they got to take care of their bodies and stuff a little bit more than me. Not that I don't. I just made some bad choices.
I guess you could put it that way, or they just can't handle, you know, the way that you and I handle it.
I'd say the team at like from walk on to starter, like it has like a very it's very consistent across the board. Like everyone has like a good, you can kind of, you know, the heartbeat of the team. It's kind of, everyone's really on the same page with most everything.
So walk-ons would just go straight into the fan and starters would wear a helmet into the fan.
Yeah, exactly.
I know I was listening to a Matt Painter interview, head coach of Purdue, and he said kind of every coach that that he really knows loves a noon tip-off because a lot of the coaches just lose their mind, just freaking out about the game, freaking out about prep, freaking out about, you know, what they're going to be able to, you know, are they going to see something new? Are the players going to be ready? So I'm sure coaches probably prefer to get, you know, the earlier to get it done with, the better. But I'm sure it's probably different for players. Like you said, the bright lights, you know, later in the day, you're kind of ready to be locked in. And I don't know, maybe seeing other teams out there, on TV during other games, maybe that kind of gets you mentally prepared for, okay, well, it's game day, let's go. Oh, an upset happened, we can upset them as well. A close game, we better make sure we come out and are hitting on all cylinders early. So I don't know. I think coaching wise, the earlier the better to get the game out of the way. But for basketball, I bet the players probably do love that late night too.
Sure.
Just kind of get the vibes going throughout the entire day, come out and kind of be that showcasing.
I would think the crowd would be different at a night game for basketball than for an early game.
I hate that there hasn't been Saturday games, like marquee Saturday games. They fallen on Sundays. Like, there's nothing better than a Saturday. Everyone's all juiced up. Everyone's well lubricated.
Saturday energy.
I mean, Sunday, you're like, I'll have a couple beers before we head in, but I got work tomorrow, so I can't get too crazy.
Yeah,
I know. I was hurting today so bad after the Bengals.
Well, it's a little different going to
nothing worse.
It's a little different going to like a UC game, 1:00 tip on a Sunday than it is going to a Bengals game that you've been preparing all week for. There's only 8 of them regular season anyway, so man.
Staring at a computer screen at 6:30 a.m. after Sunday night it's tough. It's hard. It's very hard.
We really struggle against the better teams on our schedule. How, as a coach, can you get your team over that threshold, or can you?
I think it just comes down to your guys. I think that's our players just not stepping up, making the shots when we need them to, not getting stops, not having a good solid foundation to start the game, always playing from behind. So, combination of all those things.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier. It's just coming out hot, confident, not doing anything too crazy, staying focused, doing what you've done from the get-go, and then putting it all together. I don't know.
Play like you expect to win the damn game from the tip.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You play to win the game. Like, I think right now, and maybe I'm wrong. It feels like, and you guys can tell me what you think here. It feels like they're playing to be close.
Yep.
They're playing to be in the game. They're playing like the goal mentally for these guys is to show that they can play with these top teams. That's great. Okay, yeah, you played with Arizona. You played with Xavier. They've spent time in the top 10. You've played with Houston. They've been number 1. Okay, you've proven that. The next step is you go in and you say, we're going to fucking win. We're going to win. We're playing this game, and we're going to win. And maybe you lose because that's sports. But I haven't seen that attitude of, we're going to win this game. This is our court. They've lost 3 games at home. This is our court. We're not losing here. You're going to have to pry it from our cold, dead fucking hands. And I haven't seen that yet. Do you think, am I on point there, Ryan?
I agree with you.
They lack a killer instinct for sure.
Being close is no longer good enough.
And I think that was kind of the problem we had versus Bama. It was kind of like just being in the playoff, like knowing how good Bama was. I think I might not be able to speak for everyone and how everyone felt, but I felt it was kind of like the energy of like,
don't
a little happy.
Out.
Yeah, don't get blown out. Like, just stay in the game. Like,
we need to prove ourselves
instead of it's time to go fucking win. Because I think that was the kind of energy we had versus Georgia. It was like, because I remember like Coach Freeman.
You took it to Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, them in the fucking mouth.
Yeah. And they would just, they're just like showing all their guys and like, yeah, like they might have all the fucking stars and whatnot, but like, we're going out there to win. We're not going out there to show that we can hang with them. And we damn near won. Like, should have won. That's probably like the most. I think that's
Killer
something the
instinct.
basketball team need. Yeah, that's what you need. They're
When I
playing
took
like
over this
they're
job-
playing like playoff football team. They're not playing like Peach Bowl football team.
When I took over this job full time, you know what my goal was? Kick the Inquirer's ass. And don't allow anybody that tries to get in this market an ounce of room to breathe. Win. Like that was the mentality. And, you know, we've kicked the Inquirer's ass. Now, Justin's come along, and he's an okay guy, I guess. Like, you know, sometimes competition sprouts up from unexpected places. I don't think The Athletic existed when I took over Bearcat Journal in 2016.
Yep.
But the point was, like, the Inquirer's been the big dog in this town for decades, century, whatever. No, I don't care. We're better than them. We work harder than them. We produce better content than them. We're going to kick their ass. I don't care how long they've been the outlet of record for coverage in Cincinnati. Not good enough. We're going to be better than them. I want to see this team have that belief when they take the floor against UCF, Memphis. Maybe you're not better than Houston. Maybe you're not. But don't go out there and just concede. We hope we can keep it close. That it doesn't sit well with me.
No, me either.
I will forever be pissed though. This on Sunday, the 2 fouls on Landers. It was 3-2 when Landers had to check out, and Landers did seem like
But
he had
that's
a bit.
the game. That's
No, I understand that, but it did seem like Landers was the one who came out with that killer mentality, with that mindset.
sure.
And then he comes out, and then it kind of just fizzles. You know,
He had something to prove. He was playing his old team for sure.
I mean, double tech my ass.
No one's single teching that ass.
You'd be surprised.
What was the bigger momentum killing sequence that influenced the loss? A, with the score 59-55, Keontae Kennedy hits a bank shot three at the end of the shot clock from 26 feet.
Always happens again.
He misses that desperation heave, and the score goes 59-57 on DeJulius's 2 free throws. B, with the score 62-57, Mike Adams-Woods misses a step-in wide-open 3, and 13 seconds later, Adams-Woods misses a second step-in wide-open 3. He makes either shot, and the score is 62-60 even with Kennedy's lucky bank shot 3. And C, with the score 68-61, Odie misses a layup. Then 2 seconds later, fouls Williams. He makes both free throws. Memphis up 9, game over. Honorable mention, with the score 52-50, Mike Adams-Woods misses an open 3, then fouls Kendrick Davis, who makes both free throws. That's a 4 or 5 point swing, depending on how you look at it.
Jesus Christ. Question.
I think it's the segment where Adams-Woods missed the offensive rebound wide open 3.
Yeah.
I agree.
For me, as soon as Keontae Kennedy hit that bank shot 3, I literally in my living room yelled out, "Fuck, that's the game."
Yeah. It just seems like when that shit happens, it always it's not going your way.
No, that's the luck that they did not have.
UConn used to do that every single game that Cincinnati played them. Just some random end of the shot clock, Shabazz Napier, 40-footer, goes in. And
Boat right,
40-footer, Kemba, 40-footer. It's just, I don't know. But, yeah, that was frustrating, but it was definitely Micah. The Odie miss was big, man. That was really big. Another situation where they could have cut the lead again.
How did you even write this question, Killer V? Like, it would have destroyed me to even type these 3 segments out. The fourth one even still is a kick in the dick.
I thought about them 2 hours on my drive home. That's all I thought about was those plays. I thought about how much we got excited after JD hit that second 3 to tie it at 50-all. And in my mind, I was like, we're celebrating too much, guys. There's 10 minutes left in this game. Come on. Let's hone in.
The hundreds of people in attendance were celebrating too much.
It was interesting. But
All right, that's the end of the basketball portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the Banks portion of the mailbag. I'm gonna let this one. I'm gonna give this one a little bit of a pass. Z-Fly and I went to high school together, but he asks, "Are Aaron's headbands part of some midlife crisis?" I've been rocking some headbands. I've got about 7 of them now, 8 of them, however many I've accrued. I did not wear one tonight. They came in. I had the new stripes one on yesterday during the Bengals game. So you'll see some more. I'm growing my hair out, so I'm just trying to do some different stuff with it. And with a baby, trying to get that morning shower in before Rachel leaves for work or before her nap and all of that.
You're just dirty. You're just dirty.
For sure, for 1,000%. There is no doubt about that. If I have breakfast, that's a lucky day. If I have breakfast, so I mean, we're just messing around with some different things. There will always be some type of headgear on in this space, though, for pretty much 98% of the time.
You know what? It was a staple of Chad during stay-at-home dad life. The cream cheese bagel.
Oh, yeah.
You can toast a bagel in 60 seconds, slap a dollop of cream cheese on it, and you got breakfast.
See, but I like to use bagels for. I use everything bagels for my deli meat sandwich with some melted cheese on it.
That's great. But you also, if you want breakfast,
not doubling up on bagels in a day. That's so much bread.
That's what it's all about these days, baby. That bread. It's all about that bread. But no, just hey, everything baked with a little butter on there. Just
it's fine. Everything.
Cream cheese goes on bagels, not butter. Butter goes on toast.
My breakfast every morning is about 5 cups of black coffee.
And you know what they say, Chad? The bagel is just the vehicle for the cream cheese. That's the
right.
The vessel.
I might think you need to be placed in on a pre-crime list if you put butter on a bagel.
I used to have buttered bagels growing up all the time.
Butter on a bagel. Guilty.
And then somebody told you cream chease existed, and you never put butter on a bagel again.
I'll still mess around with I'll still mess around with a cinnamon raisin bagel with cream cheese or with butter or a blueberry with butter. Yeah,
butter.
I'm with you.
Cheese.
Sometimes
I'm team cream cheese.
You know what the pandemic killed though, Chad? The pandemic killed flavored cream cheese. It's very rare that you can find anything more than a berry cream cheese without going to Panera.
I don't know. I like a good chive or like a veggie cream cheese, like a jalapeno cheddar cream cheese.
Jalapeno cream cheese is pretty good.
Yeah. I'm hungry now. I want a freaking bagel.
But as Aaron said, as Ryan's saying, it's just a vessel.
Ryan, you know what I did tonight? The bagel
becomes a vessel.
What?
So while I was at the hospital, my aunt called me out of nowhere, and my uncle is like the 2 of us are the cooks in the family.
Mm.
So she said yesterday, my uncle went to Kroger. And they had pork shoulders on sale for 99 cents a pound. So he got a 8-9 pound pork shoulder and cooked it and did some pulled pork. So she dropped off 2 containers of pulled pork at the house. I love butter. I just don't like butter on bagels. I want cream cheese on a bagel if I'm doing a bagel. So I did pulled pork nachos.
Oh man!
With
what all did you put in it?
Just so you get a sheet pan. I do a lot of it. A lot of times I'll do it on a pizza, like a large pizza.
Lamb Big and Brian Johnson. Yeah.
On a Bagel Street Deli is.
That's good shit. I remember that from my time in
Bagel Street. Yeah. Amazing. Love it.
So you put 1 layer of the round tortilla chips. Has to be the round because they fit better in a single layer. And then you put the pork down. Sense. And then you put the cheese. I usually go with some queso, some white queso, and then barbecue sauce, and then some shredded, we usually have the Mexican 4 cheese.
Yeah.
And then you just put it in the oven enough for the tortilla chips and the barbecue sauce and the pork to heat up, and you just have a mound of barbecue nachos, and then I always have the pickled jalapeno slices.
Yeah,
that I put on. I don't like the jalapeno slices in the oven. I like to put those on after it comes out of the oven because it gives you a little temperature contrast.
Yeah.
So I ate an entire tray of
you ate a whole
nachos.
tray.
My dad had a little bit.
Are you talking like the big aluminum
sheet
foil tray?
Oh
my God. How did you eat all that?
I have no clue how we ended up here from my headbands, but I think that's hilarious.
Well, you only do one layer. Like, you don't pile it.
Oh, yeah.
The key is getting pork and barbecue sauce and everything on every chip. When you pile it, you've got those chips in the middle that
that's true. I thought it
don't have any shit on them.
Pan. Yeah, you're right.
No. Like a one sheet of chips.
You probably had like 20 chips.
Maybe a little more, but in that general vicinity.
Yeah. Over under 27 and a half chips.
It's like if you go to damn it, what's Chili's.
Yeah.
And you order nachos from Chili's, it's not a plate of nachos. It's like 20 individual chips with meat and cheese and whatever you like. Each chip is its own individual vehicle. I aim for that as opposed to a pile of nachos where you get 8 nachos that have a bunch of shit on it and then 36 nachos that are just a nacho that didn't get anything on it.
Nacho purgatory.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't realize bagels were going to cause such a thing.
The only comments we've had in the entire show have been about the bagels segment.
Cream cheese.
All right.
Cream cheese. Butter goes on toast. Cream cheese goes on bagels. General rule.
Set the record straight.
Headband bagels.
Makes sense. Fake John Goebel says, okay, I feel like we should give you, Aaron, a choice. Would you rather be buried under my pool during construction or cover the AAC for the next decade, including road trips to Temple, ECU, and Tulsa for full reports? It's about to be worse than just Temple, ECU,
That's the
and
problem
Tulsa.
with this whole AAC idea that we've been joking around with forever. If it was just the remaining AAC schools, I think it would be funny. But it's not.
But Rice?
North Texas.
What are we doing here?
Rice.
I like rice.
Me too.
I had some rice for dinner.
Oh,
just rice?
What went with
rice
that?
And steak? But you guys are gonna like this. So, remember I said I went to Findlay Market. I got the sirloins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have like 3.5 pounds of sirloin in my freezer, and I'm trying to de-thaw my 4 pounds of chicken in the refrigerator, and it doesn't de-thaw. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna get the steak. So I'm like trying to de-thaw the steak. So you take the steak and you put it on top of a pan. So you flip a pan so the bottom of the pan's facing up, and you put the steak on top of that. Then you take another pan full of water, put that on top of the steak. So the steak's smushed in between 2 pans.
Heard that.
But I did the whole 3.5 pounds. Like, why is this taking so damn long?
Because it's 3 fucking pounds.
I know. And it was like getting around like 7 o'clock. Like, I don't have time to mess around with this anymore. So I ended up just cooking a frozen steak on the stovetop.
Okay.
And it's an interesting.
Pretty damn well.
Yeah, it turned out good because it was like you cook it low to de-thaw it and then return the. Yeah.
So it's essentially reverse searing.
Kind of, but it's It's
you want the chicken hack, Royer?
Then you just put butter on that beet.
Water.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
You put it in salt water. Just put it in some water with a little salt. If you do it for like 2 hours minimum, it actually ends up brining the chicken so it's more juicy because it's been in water. And you can thaw it out. I mean, it'll thaw out in an hour if you put it in just a container of water.
I didn't have an hour. I needed like a 20-minute.
You can get there. You'll get there more with the chicken in 20 minutes than you will with trying to thaw out 3 fucking pounds of steak. Dumbass.
I learned my lesson, man.
Every topic, all about food. Yeah. This is the Banks portion
We're
of
hungry.
the podcast.
And the answer is always butter. Just put a little butter on that steak. It'll be good.
Cream cheese.
No, you put the butter in the skillet, you melt the butter, and then you baste the steak with the butter.
Yes.
So to answer this question, though, bury me under your pool. Fuck the AAC.
Because then you can come out and swim. You'll be good.
No, I'm buried under their pool. Like,
oh no, fake John Goble is getting a pool, and they want to, while the pool is dug out, kill Aaron and bury him underneath.
Oh man. Oh, Aaron.
So Skin says, I want to piggyback off Fake John Goble's question. Aaron, would you rather be stuck on a flight to Australia? Spoiler alert, it's the flight from the TV show Lost with a bunch of colicky kids, or the beat reporter for ECU basketball?
What a hellscape job that is, beat reporter for ECU basketball.
And either way, you're landing on an island.
Right?
Are you landing with the Lord of the Flies group? Or are you landing with the ECU basketball beat writer? We'll talk for longer than Holt Naylor's career on that island. so we'll be there for the better part of a decade and a half. Chad, we need your help. I'm running out of ways to torture Aaron. Ryan,
look, Skins. Fucking kill him or don't. Shit or get off the pot. Like, we've been doing this for like a year now. If you're gonna fucking pull the trigger. If not, find a new bit. Like this bit, we're at the point with this bit that if you don't bury him under John Goble's pool, fake John Goble's pool, you're not allowed to talk about killing Aaron anymore. Do it or don't.
Jesus.
Next week we will have Eric Simon on as the 4th member of the podcast.
Didn't know Chad wanted me off the payroll so bad.
I don't. I'm just tired of them talking about not killing you, but not killing you. I'm just saying, do it or don't do it. Don't ask me for advice.
Ryan Johnson knows. There's butter. Add butter.
More questions here, though. Ryan, how did you end up in engineering?
I had an engineering. Yeah, basically, my high school offered a 4-year engineering program, and so I took the class as a freshman and liked it. Yeah, I was a loser nerd.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah, it was my only outlet.
Oddly, it's also how we ended up in the weight room so much.
And the what?
You'd be the strongest engineer you've ever seen, bro.
Now, one of my best friends is an engineer, so.
Is he a loser nerd?
You're all right in my book. No, he's actually one. You would love him. He's wild. He's crazy.
Good. The engineers get after it. I'll tell you what. We would have fun. That's for
There's
sure.
No
Some great people in that major. Yeah, that's basically it.
And last question, Brent, how do I set up the GoFundMe for #AAC23? I'm hoping to raise enough money to send Aaron to games at ECU, Tulsa, and Kabul, or a weekend in Youngstown.
Hey.
We know enough people in Youngstown that you would be good for a weekend in Youngstown.
Skins.
Coach Doug Phillips would show you a good time in Youngstown, wouldn't he, Royer?
Oh, yeah. Dougie Phillips?
Oh, yeah.
I'm busy.
Skins, I'll pay for it all. Let's just make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Well, weirdly enough, Brent, you're going to be paying for your own trip.
Oh. Interesting. But no, it was awesome. I was at that Dallas Live or whatever, before the Cotton Bowl, and walk up to the bar to buy my girl a drink. Not myself. I had to work the game a little later. I turned to my right. Who's standing right there? Doug Phillips. I say, Coach, what's good, man? Made it in for the game. He was like, yeah.
Brad, how you doing?
Forward to it. Yeah, it
That's
was.
good.
One last question in the mailbag. If you are a Bengals fan, would you rather see an injury-impaired Patty Mahomes at quarterback or a totally healthy, game plan ready Chad Henne?
Chad Henne.
100%.
Pat Mahomes was throwing off the wrong leg the entire second half and still put together a great game.
If you can get to a situation where you don't have anything to do with Pat Mahomes in the game, you take your chances.
Because see that sidearm throw, disgusting. I normally hate Patrick Mahomes. He just irks me the wrong way. I shouldn't say I hate him. I'm just like,
I get it.
He's just got that. He's just that face, the wife, the brother.
Yeah,
it's like the whole like God, and he was just like the Steph Curry treatment. I'm sorry, just like the industry plan.
His brother got the Seth Curry treatment.
Yeah. And I even had to drop a like on the post on Instagram. I saw I had to give him some love on that pass. That was disgusting. Oh my God.
Ryan, I have a question for you in the mailbag. I had a theory on PTP last week, and I'll ask an actual football player. Shovel passes, should they always be fumbles if they hit the ground? I think they should always be fumbles.
Well, I mean, they can't. If you look at the rule, it's a passing motion.
It should be. I think the rule should be changed. If it's not an actual overhand throw, if it's a forward lateral, get it.
So kind of what Josh Allen did.
Exactly what Josh Allen did.
Yeah, I see. I mean,
your arm moves forward, so it's a pass.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's the rule.
I
know.
Then it should be intentional grounding if there's no one there.
Wouldn't it be?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't nobody there.
I don't feel like it's called nearly enough. I think they're like, oh, he got it off. I guess we're good. And then nothing else is paid attention to.
Doesn't the NFL have a different rule or something for grounding compared to college? I don't remember.
It's a little different in terms of like what has to go past the line of scrimmage and what doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is inside the tackle box and what's outside the tackle box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all shovel passes should just always be, if it hits the ground, it's a fumble. Don't shovel pass this bullshit while you got a guy wrapped around your torso.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel your pain. It is kind of a stupid little play.
Yeah.
Mo hates shovel passes.
I hate them. I think they're so stupid.
It's the bane
I feel like whenever
distance.
I feel like they always work on your team, but whenever your team tries to do it, you just like royally screw it up.
Well, because you don't have Travis Kelce, so it just doesn't work.
That does tend to change the math on shovel passes when you have Travis Kelce.
Quite a lot.
He was on with McAfee today. It was electric.
Was it hilarious?
Yeah.
Gotta check
That's the mailbag.
Wow.
Hopefully, they said last week, they were like, we need to get Sauce on the show. So I immediately texted Jason Sauce's number, and hopefully we'll get Sauce on New Heights here soon.
Oh, that would be nice.
Nice.
That would be fun.
I
think those two and Sauce together would produce some very entertaining content.
Yeah.
They get him out of his little, like, people don't know it, Royer. We've talked about it a lot. Sauce lives in a little bit of a shell. Like he's really good on his Twitch stream, but he's not like this open. He's not Travis Kelce when it comes to his personality.
No, he's more reserved. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Way more reserved on his interviews, his social media compared to how he would be in the locker room.
Yeah. So I think him with the Kelce brothers would be awesome. So
yeah, they'll get some stuff out of him.
Right. Hopefully we can set that up. Dude, it's so damn good. I can't wait to get tomorrow or Wednesday when we get a new episode Wednesday. I think it's gonna be electric. My podcast listening, because it's essentially 40 minutes each way. Like dealing with traffic and stopping to get something to eat and whatever to get Good Sam from here. So I generally do a podcast a day like half of it on the way there, half of it on the way back. The new two bears, one cave is Bert Kreischer and Louis C.K.
Oh yeah,
And that's
because Louis was just on Rogan.
Yeah, I can only imagine the contrast, how good it's going to be listening to Bert and Louis C.K. go back and forth.
Yeah, that would.
I've heard one clip, and it was like Bert was asking him like about religion and like if you could find religion, and Louis C.K. was like, I don't give a fuck about religion.
Yeah, just brutally honest.
Oh, it was about the afterlife, like what happens in the afterlife, and like Bert was like, wouldn't you like know? And Louis C.K.'s like, we die. Like, that's it. I don't care what happens after that. We die. And Bert was like, my heart just stopped. I can't believe that you said that. It's like, you don't believe in anything? And Louis C.K.'s like, I'm fucking Louis C.K. Of course I don't believe in anything. So I'm excited to get that tomorrow on the way in.
There you go.
And then Wednesday, I always rock out New Heights on Wednesdays.
There we go.
Well, that's exciting as you are. Oh man, it's such a segue.
Did you hear the Gronk one? They had Gronk last week on with Travis and Jason, and it was electric.
I gotta watch that one.
Go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, as excited as you are for that on the way in, Brent, get us out of here.
But real quick, I wanted to ask, because we're going to talk next Monday, so the game will be over. Betfred Sports is
1.5, right?
Are the Bengals heading back to another SB? Is it Glendale, Arizona bound?
2 in a row. Give me the Eagles. I don't want any part of the Niners.
I'm at the point how could you consciously bet against Joe Burrow?
3 in a row.
Yeah, I like the Bengals look unstoppable.
In his first 3 years, he now has more playoff wins than any quarterback in history in his first 3 years in the league.
2 of those at Arrowhead. This would be the third at Arrowhead.
I'm talking playoff victories.
I'm talking about
one playoff. Yeah,
I'm talking about victories against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And his first season, we all know what happened. So that is one whale of an accomplishment.
I don't know how. I'm shocked. It's pretty much a pick'em, right? That's what I saw.
Yeah.
When it opened as a pick'em.
Also, Jonah and Kappa are trending up.
The line was the best it's been all year.
Yeah,
against Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo doesn't have that good of a line though, but I do think that there's some. I think the Chiefs really hate the Bengals now, and I think there's going to be a little bit revenge factor now.
But
I thought that was going to be the case in the regular season game, Royer.
It should have been.
I know. That's what I'm just thinking that KC's hungry. They got bounced last year by him at home.
High ankle sprain. You're playing on a high ankle sprain in 22-degree weather that feels like it's -2.
I know. Bengals got every shot to go do it again. I think they will.
And you know what the Bengals have as well? They've got that chip about how they were left out of the whole entire, 3-team.
They don't have a player. The PFWA came out with their all-pro teams.
Yeah.
And again, the Bengals have not a single player. Not one.
That's all they need.
Even in the all AFC, not a single player.
They do have the best quarterback in the NFL. So,
whew.
Remember when we argued about top 5 last season?
Whew.
You go back to the AFC Championship game, and you make Josh Allen look like a little bitch in the process.
Shit changes.
Wow. But hey, guys,
I'm not betting against Joe. Maybe they lose, but I'm not betting against Joe.
Not betting against Joe. But before you don't bet against Joe, you got a big game next Saturday. That's right. The Bearcats basketball team back in action at Houston on CBS. 2:15, I think, is the tip time on that. Thanks to CBS to give a little leeway for any hangover.
15 minutes is important.
Any hangover from that team from Norwood who's on before. So,
what do you think the spread's going to be, Brent?
15.5, probably. I'm not even joking.
15 and a
Pounds-
half. You taking the Bearcats under?
Ken Palm's got him 16 right now. So
Ken Palm's got it at 16.
yeah, sitting there at
The last 3 have all been 13. Final score. Bearcats have lost by 13 at Houston, in the conference tournament, and at Cincinnati, right?
73-57 final. Yep, that is right, Chad. 13, every single one of them.
If Finney's back, does that change things?
Maybe gives you somebody to put on Sasser a little bit.
Yeah.
If you might still have to ease him in though.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can put him in for a segment at a time and get him back out, maybe just changes something. I don't know.
It'd be the same way they used C.J. Anthony on Sunday.
For 14 seconds.
14 seconds. But anyway, yet again, another thank you, as always, to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Thank you to Quick Paper Supply. But as always, for my guys, my pals, that's right, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer. I am Brent Young yet again. This is another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!